Okay, good afternoon once again, ladies and gentlemen, and those interested in Thai chess or Makruk Thai. Okay, so this morning I spent some time talking about in EP 1 and 2, talking about the basic moves of Thai chess or Makruk Thai, starting from the rook, the knight, okay, the Thai bishop, the general, the king, and the pawn, promoted pawns. Okay, and then all the important stuff you need to know in EP 1. Then come to EP 2, I talk about 4 basic opening styles of Thai chess or Makruk Thai, starting from the right side, knight defense or Ma Yong Khwa, the left side knight defense or Ma Yong Sai, and then when you bring the 2 knights together in front of the king, we call Ma Thiem Rot, or essentially horses before the carriage at least. And then the last, opening style that I introduced this morning in the EP is the dragon style, knight defense. Okay, here. And then I ended a little bit with the thought, that one should be careful with, made in 3 move when one uses, place the 2 knights in front of the king, which is, naturally an error for beginners. And then of course I compare the pawn structure between the dragon knights and then the pawns in the center. Okay, now in EP3 we will spend more time with the middle games following different styles of opening. For example, let's move, let's set the pieces after we finish the opening first, not to waste any time. Okay, right. So for the right side, okay, knight defense, Ma Yong Khwa. Okay, so here comes completion of the opening. Okay, here comes, right? This is where we stopped for the right side knight defense or Ma Yong Khwa, right? Both sides are in good shape. So now what can be done next? For example, a very common move by the right side knight defense or Ma Yong Khwa is pawn b3, b4. Okay, what is the meaning of pawn b3, b4? Pawn b3, b4 is to stop pawn b5, b6. Okay, if you don't do pawn b3, b4 and instead you move your knight or your rook here, for example h1 to g1, look at what black can do. Black may move this way, pawn b6, b5. Okay, okay, so naturally if it's your move, right, for the right side, knight defense, Ma Yong Khwa, you tend to move pawn b3, b4 just to prevent this thing from happening. Okay, good. So if red or white moves with pawn b3, b4, black can also move pawn g6, g5 in a similar way. Okay, so red to move, red can move this way, rook a1, b1, or rook h1, g1. Okay, or Thai bishop, cone c2, b3. So pretty much you have a variation to move. Okay, let's say a1, b1. Right. Black to move could be bishop, Thai bishop, f7, g6. Okay. Red to move, could be bishop, Thai bishop, or pawn, c2, b3, or pawn, a3, a4. But this pawn a3, a4 is not the perfect move. What happens? So let me show you, how to make some movements and mobilize your pieces. Okay, black take the pawn, takes diagonally, right? Take the red pawn on b4, pawn c3, b4. Okay, next good move for black is b5, b6 to b5. This is a good move for black. Stop the red pawn here, and plus the knight continues to threaten or capture the piece like this. That makes red difficult to move. Red can go this way or take. Let's say go this way. Okay, right. So this is a good move that makes, right? So red can continue to try to promote pawn as a promoted pawn here on the sixth row. Okay, right. So black can move this way, pawn h6 to h5. Red takes, pawn f4, g5, and black can use pawn to take or the Thai bishop. Let's use the Thai bishop or pawn. Okay, and then red can use the general to chase away the Thai bishop. Thai bishop will pull back one step. Okay, this one is a very common, middle game that will happen for the right side knight defense. So now the both sides are quite balanced, quite equal, because the red color has one pawn captured at this point, right? And then the black color, the bishop, the Thai bishop or pawn, is chased away by the general, and then to the side, which is quite off the balance. Okay, so both sides are considered quite equal. Okay, so after this, it follows delicate moves. It takes a lot of consideration, a lot of practice, a lot of patience for both sides. Okay. One thing I would not recommend doing is to trade a knight with two pawns. Okay, so sometimes if you have good background in FIDE chess, you may want to promote your pawns to become a queen, right? So maybe it's a worthy consideration. But for Thai chess, I don't recommend, for example, trading your knight with two pawns. Don't do, because the Thai pawn promote here, become promoted pawn, and then the promoted pawn can only move diagonally, not as powerful as the knight. So I strongly suggest that you save your knights and continue to control the center better. Okay, the better to keep your knight where it is to capture the pawn or threaten the pawn, so that you can keep this Thai bishop or pawn here. Okay, good. So that way then you can continue to move. Okay, in the next sequence, in the third EP, right, we will look at how you can further develop your moves or to the middle game using the left side knight defense. Okay, or Mahjong side. We'll take a look how it works. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to EP3, right? The first part we talk about how to make or how to go about the middle game for the right side night defense or ม้าโยงขวา which I provide you up to about 20 move, which is fairly good, so it gives you some good idea to play with. Now I'll move to how to develop your pieces to middle game for the left side night defense or ม้าโยงซ้าย Okay, so now let me set up pieces to complete the opening for the left hand side. Okay, left side night defense or ม้าโยงซ้าย before we had a break. Okay, now white or red to move. So now to develop to the middle game, the left side night defense, one very popular move is here. Move the pawn from G3 to G4. If red G3 G4, black can also B6 B5 นะก็จะเท่ากันถ้าเดินลักษณะนี้จะเท่ากัน but if red doesn't want that, red may do this one, B3 B4. That this one is also possible. However, considering that the king is here, so you don't want to make too much move so that the king is exposed later. Okay, for example, you move like this, black can try to attack the king. So I continue to tell beginners or new players, don't try to move too much of the pawns on the king side, because it's where you castle your king. In Thai chess or หมากรุกไทย, right? Castling means where you put your king. Quite different from castling styles in FIDE chess. Castling in FIDE chess, you swap the positions between the king and the rooks, and the king is at the perfect, most safety place, in the back rank. But here, Thai style, Thai chess style, หมากรุกไทย, castling always means when king is on the second row or the seventh row, surrounded by large pieces, major pieces like the knights, general, and the Thai bishop or pawn. As I said, if further, if you move like this, black can push the pawn here, you push the pawn here, black has the role for the Thai bishop. This one is not good. This one is not good later. Okay, so we'll try to not to create troubles for yourself. So this one better, this one better. Right. Okay, then you may move your rook here. Okay, so they are quite balanced. No harm, nothing to worry about. And then maybe you may push your Thai bishop or pawn here. This one you may move faster. One of the ideas to develop to the middle game, in case when you play with the left hand side knight defense, somehow you try to push your pawn to the fourth row to chase away the knight. Okay, this is an important, interesting thing, an important thing to do. Okay. Right. Okay, so this one, then they move first. Okay, but make sure your rook is all connected. Okay, take example. If you don't have the rooks all connected, you push the pawn, they take the pawn, and then they take the rook. Yeah, but here, because it's all connected, nothing to worry about. Okay, so you have two ways: move the knight here, or take first and move the knight. Okay, good. Either way is good. A more common way is to move the knight here to block the pawn. Okay, so the tradition goes, and also now, many people continue to play the left side knight defense as such. Okay, so this one, and then later it's a turn for this one to chase away the knight. Okay, so then take, and then take, chase here or here, depends. Sometimes you see here, not here, because they may use the Thai bishop to chase away the knight. Ways of move back, they may use this one, or they may pull back. Ways of move. But in the past, I saw people move like this, the chess master. They move the knight back to capture the pawn. If you link or try to prevent these loose piece, for example, push the pawn one square up, right side can attack your general. Look what happens, right? Once you trade, the black pawn covers important areas in the piece, in the game. Okay, so and there are far more details that you need to keep your eyes on. Okay, so I will not get into all those details, but at least it gives you some basic ideas about how you develop your pieces to the middle game for the left side knight defense. Okay, so there are a lot of details that needs to be provided. Okay, so we will not take that much time here. Okay, so we will stop at this point. Okay, for the middle games of the left side knight defense, and then we'll move to Martium Road. Okay, the middle game for placing the two knights in front of the king. See how it works. Ladies and gentlemen, now I'm back to EP3 on developing towards the middle games for the two knights in front of the king, or Martium Road. Okay, so now let me begin by setting the opening of the pieces, yeah, so that everything becomes easy. Okay, so now from now on it's red to move, black to move in response. Okay, red to move could be this one, red to move could be this one. Okay, very common move towards the middle game for the two knights in front of the king or ขุน Martium Road แล้วก็ตำแหน่งขุน is the centerpiece. Okay, red move e3 e4, black d6 d5. Okay, red general or mid f2 e3. This one also c6, sorry, c7 d6. Okay, right. Okay, this one pawn or beer, yeah, d3 d4, beer. Okay, e6 e5, cone or Thai bishop, c2 d3, cone or Thai bishop, f7 e6. Okay, king d1 c2, or king towards f2, let's say here. Okay, black could move the rook a8 to c8, or king likewise. Okay, e8 f7. Red moves the rook to threaten the king. Try to open the file, the rank and file. This one as well. Okay, now red to attack black first with trying to open the files. Yeah, open to the king side. Move the pawn from f3 to f4. See how if the king doesn't move out of harm's way, or the king just ignores, move here, then red attacks first, as you know from FIDE chess. Yeah, this one is pinned. Okay, so black cannot use the pawn or bear from f6 to take here because the king is pinned. You know, if you allow this to happen, as I told the Thai audience, you know, you use the general to trade, you know, then the red pawn takes this one. Suddenly, you know, the king is exposed, in danger. You know, you use the knight or you use the Thai bishop or pawn to take this piece. Red will continue to attack you. For example, you use the knight, okay, then red use the general or met, you know, to attack the knight. Now red will continue to be one move ahead of you. You know, so now the general or met from the red side, now they can capture and control the center of the board, you know, which makes it very difficult for the knight or the Thai bishop or the pawn to move, and the king is in danger from the open rank of the rook. Okay, so now black is in quite a difficult dilemma or position at the moment because of this open rank and file by the rook of red, you know, and then the king is in danger, in the line of danger. So this is something, you know, that one needs to be careful, you know, when one uses two knights in front of the king. You know, like this, if it's red to move, you know, after the push back the knight, red only moves the pawn one step. Big advantage. You know, this general or mate here will never be chased by anything because the only piece that can threaten or chase the general is the pawn. Now black pawn is not available to chase back the general now. Okay, so now you can see that it becomes, you know, quite difficult to move. But nevertheless, from my evaluation, you know, the two knights in front of the king or ขุน ม้าเทียมเล็งพลตำแหน่งขุนเนี่ย is quite good to practice. And you know, but then you need to be careful about, for example, you know, when you move the king up, try to castle here, and the opponent knows it, moves the rook here or เรือ here, you know, and then push the pawn one step up, take the pawn, expose the king, then it becomes difficult to play. All right, you know, just to keep in mind that there are advantages and disadvantages for playing certain opening style. Every opening style has an advantage and disadvantage to itself. Okay, so at this point, I think the red is much better compared to black. You know, so this is because Thai chess or หมากรุก Thai, right, doesn't have powerful pieces like bishop or queens. So without bishops or queens or promotion towards becoming a queen or bishop in the end, you know, Thai chess or หมากรุก Thai relies on pawn or Thai bishops and knights, and especially the general or met, you know, to control the center. Okay, control the center and maintain the advantage over the other side. Okay, guys, ladies and gentlemen, let's come back to the last of the EP3, you know, about the development towards middle games for the dragons okay, the knights and dragon move, okay, in the centerpiece. Okay, so let me get started, by setting the pieces to complete the opening, okay, of this move before we had a break. Okay, copy here, here, and here. Okay, and red and black. Okay, now complete the opening, okay, for this opening style, the fourth opening style, which is quite popular and common among the stronger players of Thai chess or Makruk Thai. We call Ma Mangkon in Thai language, okay, comes from loosely translated as the dragon style of the horse defense, knight defense, dragon style, knight defense at the center. Okay, red to move. Either rook h1 to g1 or rook a1 b1. Let's start with rook, red to move, right? Rook h1 g1. What for? In order to push the pawn here, g3, g4. Okay, so either way for black to respond could be rook a8 to b8 to do the same thing, okay, or h to g8 to do this. Okay, so let's do the same thing. First, a to b8. So red to move, pawn g3, g4. Now, with pawn g3, g4, red is slightly better than black. So red to move, push the pawn one square up. ชอช้าง3 ชอช้าง4. Let's say that black do the same. ชอช้าง3 ขอไข่6 ขอไข่ 5. Okay, so red attack first. Okay, so black can respond because black moves later, right? Red moves first, so red is attacking black. Okay, so if black takes, okay, h6 takes g5. Okay, red can take and chase the knight or use the knight. Either one is equally good. Okay, takes with the knight first. Okay, so if they push the knight here, red can develop this or push the pawn here. Either way, good. Now, the black knight is in trouble because it's stuck by the side, cannot move. Yeah, close the gap but cannot move. This is not completely a good move. Okay, so now black's turn. Okay, so black can also move the Thai bishop or the pawn here, or black can also move here. Either way. So what will happen next, is like this, possible, right? Or clear the way, like this, and then move the king down here. Safety, king. Then you can push. Okay, so the dragon style, knight defense requires a lot of skills, a lot of practice, a lot of training, a lot of patience. But once you have all those qualities, you can play very well. You can control, like this, control this side, control this side. So it's a matter of who can gain the control in the center. So there are, various styles you can play. This one you can also use Thai bishop to stop the knight from checking your king. Okay, so there are various ways that you can play. Therefore you can, dear friends, colleagues from overseas, right? You can see that the logic and the skills and styles of playing for Thai chess and FIDE chess is quite different, because of the power of pieces. As I said in summary, right? Thai chess or Makruk Thai requires a great deal of short range to middle range power of the pieces, whereas FIDE chess provides middle range to long range power of pieces, which are two different things. Okay, so one needs to make oneself to understand that, to learn to play. And of course, opening, to me, opening is quite easy to acquire. Middle game, then one needs to be precise and clear about how to use short range to middle range pieces, okay, with their limited powers. And last but not least, the end games or the counting towards the end games in Thai chess or Makruk Thai, which is the hardest part. In EP4, which will be quite delicate and most difficult part, is to be familiar with the end games in Thai chess or Makruk Thai, okay, leading towards counting. By rules of Thai chess, if you finish the counts, you cannot capture the king. It's a draw. Therefore, that's the hardest part. You may have all advantages in the world, but when it comes to capturing the king within certain moves, you cannot do that. It's a draw. It's a pity, right? But it's a draw. In FIDE chess, there's no such chance, because if you can promote the knight to become the pawn to become the queen, the game is over. But in Thai chess or Makruk Thai, that's far from over. Okay, it leads to the counts towards end games, and you have to capture the king, checkmate the king within those counts. Okay, from me, goodbye for now, and then you follow my demonstration in the next EP, which is about end games being the most difficult part. Okay, thank you. See you.